and welcome to the first podcast of the 2018, as of yet unnamed, Yahoo Fantasy League live recorded podcast. I'm official Yahoo Test, and I have Jacob with me. Welcome, Jacob.
Hey, mate. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2018.
I don't think I actually said Happy New Year to you. I'm sorry about that, but welcome.
That's all right. You've got all this technical stuff to deal with. I'll let it slide.
Well, I meant since January, but January 1st. But
yeah, I know.
Okay. Well, what's been new on the hockey landscape for you? I mean, I see you're still doing pretty well in the old league there.
Yeah, well, I've got the same mantra I always have that, you have to, as long as you make the playoffs, you've got a chance to win it. So looking at those, that top 6 spot is as long as I'm above that, I'm happy.
Okay. All right. And where are you sitting at the moment? I've actually checked.
Sitting third, so doing quite nicely at the moment.
Okay. But I see Tim's first now, right? He's been pulling ahead.
Yeah, that guy's had a bit of run of form. He's 10 points ahead of second place, which is pretty much the biggest gap between any team except for the very bottom of the table.
Yeah, he's. I'm against him this week, and I'm doing all right. Except I've had a real lack of goalie games though, which is killing me. But I'm beating him in pretty much every other stat. So anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. Funnily, I've had no goalies, but my goalies played so badly this week anyway that it doesn't really matter. Like I was going to lose all the categories anyway. So yeah.
Yeah, mine aren't doing too well. And I missed out on the win because I had all 3 guys going today, and I picked one to go on the bench, and he was the only guy I got to win, of course. So.
Yeah, that's how it works. But you have to make those sacrifices, don't you? You got to play someone on the bench.
Yeah. Well, I just kind of one of the guys was going against Pittsburgh, but Matt Murray's injured, so I thought, well, he's probably got a good chance of winning against the backup keeper. But obviously not.
Yeah.
Obviously not.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about it before we got on before we started recording that this is one of the tightest leagues I think I've ever seen in fantasy hockey. You look at the between first and second, there's 10 points, but after that, there's 2 points, there's 8 points, there's 8 points, 2 points, 3 points. Everyone is within striking distance of the person just ahead of them. And we've still got 5 weeks to go. 5 weeks, that's 13 wins a week. There's tons, that's 26 points a week. So you're looking at over 100 points that you can still pick up. So if you go out and win every single game, last place can still finish on top at this rate.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially the middle of the table, it's just 1 or 2 good weeks in a row and 1 or 2 bad weeks in a row. For the others, it's going to see you pull right away. Anyway, hopefully, I feel like I've had a good resurgence over these last few weeks. So I'm hoping some good results because my forwards are finally scoring some goals.
That's it. Finally, starting to pull the team together. Hey.
Yeah. Well, few pep talks. We had some good celebrations over the New Year, but I said, well, once we get back on the ice, we really got to put some pucks in the net, as they say.
No, that's it. Well, you're sitting at 500, so you got 76 wins, 76 losses, and from what I've always seen, 500 is kind of the cutoff for the playoffs. So you're sitting just outside at the moment, but it's not much. There's not much in this. 3 points. That's all you have to do is win by 2 more than Rusty's Trombones, 2 more categories than Rusty's Trombones, and you're back in the playoff march.
And I think Trombones is against Bufflin, yeah. So, who's 5th place? So it could be quite a big shake-up.
Yeah, this is so at the moment, if it stays as it stands, you'll jump into the playoff spot just ahead of Rusty's Trombones, who will drop out. So yeah, it's tight. It's crazy. It's all happening. I think it's going to be a heartbreaker for someone though.
Oh, it always
someone's going
is.
to miss out by a couple of, like a point or two. There's it's not going to be one of those seasons that the bottom, however many, are going to be like, all right, we're done. Let's get out of here. We'll start playing some golf and leave our team to fester. No, it's going to be last week. I think will determine who actually gets those last few spots at the playoffs.
Yeah, I've been sitting at 500 for a while, so I don't know. But I did cut some chaff. Gotta say, I separated a lot of chaff out, and I was ruthless. I got rid of it, and I picked up some guys who I'm pretty happy with. So yeah, but I did do a pretty big makeover. I pretty much used 8 moves in 2 weeks to get rid of all these guys who just really not pulling their weight. Really,
sometimes
expect better.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to do that, don't you? Sometimes you just got to go, all right, we're not getting the results, therefore the team dynamic isn't working. Yeah, you got to make some big calls and cut some guys that maybe you were holding on to, hoping they'll do something. Haven't yet. Catch you later.
And I think the thing that really cuts the deepest is we had a great Secret Santa as well. And you should have seen some of the gifts the boys got. I mean, it really showed that they knew each other and they were meshing as a team. But Secret Santa can only take you so far.
So yeah, you picked a couple of guys' names to keep out of the hat and gave them a Secret Santa bus ticket, did you?
Pretty much. It was rough, but it kind of resolves conflict a bit easier, I feel.
Yeah, that's it. It's 0.09% away from that playoff spot. So yeah, hopefully they get the message and realize that you're not going to stand for not performing. So yeah, let's watch this space as the weeks get closer and closer and see how tight it gets towards the end of the year.
Great. Okay, so shall we move on? I think that was a pretty good.
Yeah.
The last thing I just wanted to mention is I beat Michael again. So you can't see this, but I have 2 crowns above my heads because I'm the double Kingslayer. I've got him twice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think since then he's had a little bit of a struggle.
Yeah, he's lost a few times.
So you beat him in week 10. In week 11 he tied, and then in week 12 he lost to Puck Uni.
Then
he tied again to Rusty's, but now he's having a decent. Then he's beating me at the moment. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But he kind of is not letting the form stick through the festive time of year and into really the sticky end of the year.
Too many eggnogs, maybe.
I think so. For you guys with sore heads when they are rocking up the play.
Also, I see you guys have in the chat. You've been talking about it, but your goalies aren't doing either of you any favors. I know Talbot especially. Although I did see this pretty amazing save that Talbot did end of last week. I think it was absolutely insane. But no, that's right. He screwed it up. That's right. He screwed up something pretty badly. It was in weird NHL, whatever. He they were passing it back to him or something, and he just let it roll in or something. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, I did see that. That was I don't think he was. I think that was the start of the getting in his own head, because since then he hasn't played well at all. He might be one of the guys that had a slightly too big of a Christmas. We'll let Mike have the right of reply to that one then.
He'll need it because I'm the Kingslayer. So
yeah, that's right. So I've been looking at power rankings recently.
Yep.
So it's kind of something that I've never really taken much notice of. But I guess it's kind of a different take on how to look at fantasy. So do you know much really about the power rankings and how they're worked out and what they're about?
No idea.
Well, basically, it's power rankings are picked by reporters based on how a team performed, purely about how they performed in the last week. So there's a little bit of they look at how they went before that, but mainly it's going like, all right, this last week, how good has this team been? And it's kind of a way that I look at, if you look at a team and go, all right, I want to pick up a player. They've got really good stats, but they haven't really done much for the last week, 2 weeks, however long you want to look at. It's a way to kind of go, well, is it them that's not performing, or is it the team as a whole that's not performing? So you can kind of gauge from it, like teams that do have big jumps, you can kind of go like, wow, they've been hot. Teams that sort of are consistently high in the rankings, you go like, yeah, they're playing well all year. They're doing all right. And then also, the opposite is true. So if they have a big drop, you can kind of say, well, this team's starting to suck a bit. And if they're consistently low, you can kind of go, well, they're not so hot this year. So that's where you look at teams like Buffalo, who are really struggling. If you kind of have a look at it, so I use the ESPN ones. Power rankings, I guess, are a good way for, just to look at snapshot in time. How's this team doing right now? No trends, no anything else. If you just go NHL at the top, there's a power rankings tab about halfway down.
I can't believe how well the Golden Knights have done. It's just intense.
Golden Knights, hottest team in the league. Yeah, you can't go wrong. They are killing it. Since the start of the year, they've won 3 of 5. Beat some teams you'd expect to do some things. Beat St. Louis. Lost to St. Louis, but they beat Nashville, Chicago, and the Rangers, who are all guys that you would expect to put up a bit of a fight. On that note, you've reminded me of the news article you sent me during the week.
Oh, the army thing.
Yeah, does that not seem ridiculous to everyone?
From the general comments I was reading, it does. But as far as I can tell, their main reason for pursuing it is people are going to confuse some parachute squad in the army with an NHL team. It's like, who? And it's like, even if they do, like, who cares? Who cares if they're confused? I'm sorry, the army isn't as cool as you all seem to think it is. And but the interesting thing about that, and I didn't send it in the chat, is that someone posted this video because apparently concept videos and stuff for Vegas teams for a while, and there was this. I should try and find it, but they were called the Las Vegas Aces. Ace of Spades on their uniforms, and they were still and a lot of people saying, well, they shouldn't be gold anyway, they should be silver and all this stuff. But yeah, it's ridiculous. I can't believe this is, people always come to me and say, to ask me questions about American law and stuff. And look, visually, America has the worst legal system in the world. It has got it all ass backwards. It's terrible. And this case, in Australia, I could never see this happening. There are pretty much guidelines that the government shouldn't pursue frivolous lawsuits unless they're getting, actually damaged or something. In this, it's like, what damage?
Yeah.
What's the damage?
I did like the article, Bill Daly's comments. The deputy commissioner of the NHL has said, we haven't had any complaints yet that someone has turned up expecting to see a parachute team and then watching an NHL game.
Exactly.
It just makes very little sense that this is going to cause any confusion. The fact that they've said, we've got common rights to these colours is, it just, like the whole thing just seems like it's someone has gone, I'm not a big hockey fan, I don't really like it, I'm going to try and bring it down.
I mean, it's kind of stupid as well. Like as far as I can tell, the Vegas people, one of them was like former West Point guy or something, and that's why.
Yeah.
He did copy it. Like, he admits as much that the name was copied and so was the color scheme. But it's like, yeah, but I mean, why? I mean, seriously, you can't come up with something a bit better. I get that you're creating the team or whatever, and so you got a bit of freedom, but maybe try and get a bit of creativity. Don't just copy some army parachute team. Maybe
you should have done better, but at the same time, to pursue it in as a copyright case is a bit of a weird thing that I don't think is worthwhile. But
it's a waste of taxpayer money.
I just don't get it. Like, and the other thing is like take it as an homage.
Exactly. Well, that's what it was supposed to be. I'm pretty sure that's why he copied it. He respected the team. And the other ridiculous thing that I just thought of is the NHL pays the military anyway for them to do those soldiers' days and all those anything military related you ever see in NHL. They're paying for that. The NHL is the teams are paying the military to arrive and do stuff there. That happens with all the major sports in the US. So it's like, what are you doing? They're already a massive cash cow. Do you want to turn the NHL fans against you for what? For like literally what? I don't even know where to start with that thing.
Surely they could look at this and go, well, we can make this mutually beneficial. Like, yeah, no one's going to get confused between our this squadron of parachute shooters and an ice hockey team, but let's work together and make both of them more recognizable. Let's it just strikes me as just having a lawsuit for the sake of having a lawsuit.
Yeah, well, that's America for you. Ridiculous.
Yeah, there it is. According to power rankings, Vegas Golden Knights, best team in the league right now. Hottest team. They're the team that if you get a chance to pick up any of their players, if you're on the fence about picking up between them and someone else, pick up a Golden Knights player. That's what the rankings are telling us right now. On the flip side, down the bottom, I'm going to guess that it's Buffalo. Sitting there. Yeah, Buffalo, 31st.
Poor Buffalo.
Buffalo, Arizona, Senators, Oilers. What makes me a bit sad is last year, the Canadian teams, Senators, Oilers, Canadians, Canucks, and Flames were all in the playoff spots. Like, they all made the playoffs last year. All 6 Canadian teams made it. This year, there's only one sitting in. There's 2. Sorry, the Maple Leafs and the Winnipeg Jets. The only 2 teams that are in playoff spot. So it's a bit sad to see, the land that hockey was kind of like created, sort of struggling so much at the moment to get it working. Especially the Oilers. That's the one that I lived in Edmonton for a while. It hurts a bit to see that, they spent all these years cellar dwelling. I finally thought they had it right with Connor McDavid. They thought, we'll put a team around him. And it looks like a good team. You'd expect them to be doing something, but they just cannot find that chemistry and that form, and they're just struggling.
Yeah, but a star player is only going to give you one line at most.
Yeah, but a player like McDavid, he's very similar to Crosby, and Penguins sucked until they got Crosby, and they built a team around him. So it can be done, like it's been done in recent history. It's just that, the Oilers can't quite manage to find the right guys to put around him to do it. So, yeah. Oh, well, maybe next year. I think, Oilers have been saying that for...
I was about to say, yeah.
It sounds 35 years now.
Sounds very familiar. Poor Oilers. They got such a cool... I just love their color scheme. It's so cool, like the blue and orange. It's like Oilers sounds kind of cool, but...
Yeah, the only downside I think with their color scheme is that it's just so similar to New York Islanders.
Yeah. But I like Islanders as well. And I just picked up Basil from I think he was you recommended him to me, but I just picked up Basil from the Islanders, and he is kicking ass. He got like 2 goals.
Islanders,
2 goals today or something.
Yeah, the Islanders players are destroying the league right now. Josh Bailey is killing it. He's on track for this huge season. I think it would be a career season for him. I might have to pull up his stats, but yeah, Josh Bailey is absolutely annihilating it. I've got Anders Lee in my team, and he is just picking up points everywhere. Basil he doesn't score a lot of goals, but he gets a lot of assists, and he does put the odd few away. Like you said, he got a double in the game the other day. Yeah, so this is one time that you can kind of look at a team and the players in it. And I've mentioned this before in the year that sometimes teams can be too good of a team, and they don't, they share the points around too much and detract the value from everyone.
Yeah.
This is a team that is actually not doing that. They're kind of going against everything I said there, because they're managing to keep these guys scoring points, but they're so valuable. So just pulled up the Islanders team on the Yahoo points list. John Tavares, 22 goals, 30 assists. Anders Lee, 25 goals, 15 assists. Matthew Basel, 15 goals, 29 assists. Josh Bailey, 12 goals, 38 assists. Nick Leddy, who's a defenseman, is 6 goals, 22 assists. And on top of that, he's got 50 odd blocks and hits and 60 odd blocks. And yeah, it's just these Islanders. You can go down the list, just keep going down. Even Cal Clutterbuck, if you had him, he's got 126 hits. Yeah, you can pick up any of the guys kind of in the first 10 rows of the Islanders team, and they'd all be adding to your team, they'd all improve guys that are in your team. They'd add something there, It's crazy. So hit players and then status.
What? Oh, I didn't scroll down far enough. There we go. Yeah, I was like, that's the first place I looked. I was like, oh, there, it's not there. Yeah, Tavares. What about Boychuk? Who's that guy? Who's that really iconic Islanders player? I think he retired last year or something.
Islanders player that retired last year.
I think
I don't.
He's kind of brown. And he had a shaved head, I think, or short hair. He's definitely one of the. He kind of looked Mexican or something.
Mexican.
He reminds me of Josh Koscheck from I don't know how to spell Koscheck from the UFC a lot. I'll send you a picture of Koscheck, and then you can you'll probably be able to you'll probably be able to work out who I'm talking about. Oh, who was it?
Oh, jeez. You're not talking about Kyle Laposo, are you?
Laposo. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, he retired.
Yeah,
right?
so he got traded, actually.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, that's why he's not there. I think he plays for Buffalo now.
Yeah, poor guy.
Yeah, traded. Yeah, plays for Buffalo.
He does look a bit like Koscheck, though, right? I'm not wrong there, am I?
Yeah, he's just got to shave off that fluffy blonde, curly hair. But other than that, yeah, they look. I can definitely see it there.
Because that's all I could think of. I was trying to think of his name. I'm like, I just know it looks a little like Josh Koscheck.
Yeah, you might have to put them side by side for comparison and see how many people call you racist and how many people agree with you.
Yeah, well, call me racist all you want. Racists exist. That's all I say.
Yeah, I'll definitely see. I've got their pictures up side by side, and I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. They do have. Koscheck is frowning and Oposo smiling in my picture, but other than that, they could be very easily related.
I'm surprised the Jets are so high up. But I know Wheeler's been doing pretty well, I think.
Yeah, and again, I think it's one of those teams that most of the guys are contributing. So Winnipeg are sitting 4th in the league. They're traveling well, which is great because they're another team that. They were a franchise expansion not too long ago, so it's a good team. Good to see these young teams starting to make some waves. I think that's the key. If you look at the top, probably 5, 6, at least. I'd say the top 6 teams up to Nashville, Nashville Capitals, Los Angeles, Winnipeg Jets, Tampa Bay Lightning, Golden Knights. They're teams that you look at and they don't really have these massive, huge star players. They do. They are, obviously there's Stamkos and there's Ovi and stuff, but they're not. And LA's got Quick, but they're not teams that you kind of go oh, this one dude does everything.
Mm.
They're teams that you're man, you can take any player out of this team, and that team will still be a good team. And I think that's kind of the key to, doing anything in this league is building a team that doesn't matter who you lose. If you lose a player, there's always someone there that can fill that hole. And yeah, it's coming. It's the first St. Louis. They're another team like that. If they I think the tagline that St. Louis has there is, "This is the St. Louis Blues. Let's just cut to the chase." HEALTH. If they can keep a healthy team playing, they would be killing it. But they're just so riddled all the time with injuries.
I was reading that and I thought it said Heath. I'm like, wait, who's Heath?
Who's Heath? Some dude is just holding them up. I don't know. Like as I said, it's power rankings aren't be all and end all. They don't necessarily resemble what's happening in the rankings for the league, but it is it is a good chance to have a look at who's doing well at right now at the moment. The top teams are always going to be similar to the top teams in the league, but there's ones that have a big jump from week to week that you need to keep an eye on, because they're the guys that's probably worth picking up and trying to trade someone while they're hot and that sort of stuff in a fantasy perspective. It's another way to judge a team rather than just a player as well. So other than that,
Bruins and the Canadians match.
We just keep scrolling through these rankings. So we keep going down, just keep going down. Eventually, you come up and you'll find my Red Wings. Sitting at 26th. So I think this is another year. As much as I was so optimistic at the start of the year, I was like, man, the boys are playing really well. They're showing so much heart. It's painful. It's ended up pretty painful for me.
I just picked up Jimmy Howard, and he didn't do well in his first outing.
Jimmy Howard is an amazing goaltender. He is just in front of a team that cannot perform at the moment.
Yeah.
He is solid. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him get traded pretty soon, because he's a big salary cap. Yeah, I think they'll look to move someone like him because he's a big hit to the salary cap. They got him and Mrazek, who are both pretty big on the salary cap. Mrazek's younger than Howard. Yeah, I think Howard is an amazing goaltender, and he really is one of those guys that deserves the chance to play for a team that might have a shot at the cup. So
can keep the puck out of his zone.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like if he has a good team in front of him that doesn't give up 35 plus chances every single game, he's going to he does his job really well. He stops the puck, but defensively Detroit just aren't there. Offensively Detroit aren't there, and it's going to be a tough few years for me, I think, watching these guys play.
Well, I noticed the Rangers are pretty high up. They're 14th, and it says Lundqvist faced the third most shots in NHL among goalies. So it's even with these super goaltenders, it just really doesn't matter if you're having to face that many shots all the time. You just especially how random hockey can be with the deflections and stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
You're just not going to be able to be that good all the time.
Yeah, that's it. And then I guess the flip side is directly above the Rangers is the Blackhawks. And they've been having a rough run of late, and it shows that, how good a good goaltender can be. Since Corey Crawford has been injured, they've just really struggled to keep that consistency going over, the longer period of time. And, they've really missed him.
Who have they got as a backup?
Oh, man, I can't even remember. I did look this up the other day. I saw him because I was considering because the backup needed, they had a rest game for the backup, and they put in the second backup, and he played really well. But off the top of my head, I can't remember his name. Jeff Glass, that was his name. Yeah, so there you go. Jeff Glass is actually starting the game tomorrow against Detroit.
Not a bad save percentage.
No, he had. I know. Well, if I pull up his stats, he actually had a few good games. 933 in his first game. His first NHL game ever.
Bad.
And
against Edmonton though.
Yeah,
it was an away game though, so it's alright.
Yeah, well, he's been a bit of a yo-yo since then. Dropped to 897, then 920, then 884. There you go. Last game he played against Winnipeg got a 969 save percentage. That's massive. All I wanted to say about power rankings, anyway, just another way to sort of look at a team and how they're going over the last little period of time to judge if their players worth picking up over another team. There's only, I guess I've only got one other topic I was thinking about talking about, and that is we talked about at Christmas your this, the 75% of teams are going to stay in the playoff contention. So,
Yep.
Of the teams that are already there, 75% are going to stay in playoffs. After New Year's, it goes to 80%. And after the All-Star break, I think it goes up to close to 90%. It's sort of interesting to see now that we're getting to the point where teams are actually kind of like understanding where they're going to finish the year. The next couple of weeks is the mandated bye weeks.
That's right.
So it's important now to manage your lineups a bit and sort of understand that there are going to be guys that are not playing for. It's a minimum, I think, of 4 to 5 days or 4 to 7 days or something like that. There's a pretty big window because of the All-Star weekend and that sort of stuff. So yeah, there's going to be a decent chunk of time that people might be missing from your team. So make sure that you stay on top of your roster, and any ad drops you need to make sure you make them and pick up some players that are actually going to be playing. And you might sneak by with an easy win if your opponent isn't really aware of it.
Yeah, they've got a bit of a warning up on the if you just click on League on the fantasy page, a link to the schedule. But yeah, it's mandated 5 days. And there are some 6-day breaks as well. Anaheim, Buffalo, Colorado, Dallas, Edmonton, Florida, Los Angeles, Nashville. And Ottawa's got a 7-day break. Oof.
It just depends on how they're finishing if they finished games 2 days before the break, then it's working out to be a 7-day break kind of thing.
I'm struggling to even make my 3.
Goalies.
Yeah, that's the only reason I think you really have to look at it, but because that's obviously fatal if you lose your goalkeeper games.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Well, I'm just going to really quickly, because I know we'll be running a bit long here. But what do you think of the All-Star game? Are you for it, against it, indifferent to it? What do you think?
Well, I mean, I can't really speak to hockey that much, but I do follow a few other sports and stuff which have All-Star games, and I'm kind of in two minds about it, because All-Star games, obviously the team chemistry is not going to be there. Sometimes, though, you'll get to see some guys, 2 star players are on the same team. You get to see them play against each other, which is kind of cool sometimes. But in the end, they're not taking it that seriously, so you don't care. But yeah, I like it because it can encourage some crazy plays. But I don't know, I'm a bit a bit of a purist about sports, and especially team sports. And I really like to see the teamwork more than anything.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it's I mean, why not? I don't think it should really happen in the middle of the season, though. I think it should happen either at the end or at the beginning. It seems kind of weird to have it in the middle, but yeah. But I'm not really against it, but I wouldn't really miss it if it was gone, I guess.
Yeah, I'm a bit the same way. I get the point of it. I get that it highlights the stars. It gives everyone a chance to see the best players showing off their skills, because they have the skill competition in hockey, and
the speed skating and all that.
Yeah, and you get to see all that, and that's really cool. But at the same time, it's also taking away the only time that these guys get an extended break in the in the whole schedule.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
The only time that they get 5 to 7 days off, they have to play these games, which mean nothing. And a lot of guys are going, well, why do we do it? It means nothing. If I get injured, my team is going to suffer, which does mean something, And I guess Sidney Crosby was a bit of a martyr for this for a few years, and he actually didn't play an All-Star game for the first I can't remember exactly how many years, but every time the All-Star game came up, he kind of got injured right before it happened, and missed the first 5 years of his career. He didn't play the All-Star game.
So is there any penalty if you're picked for it and then you just don't turn up?
Yeah, so there used to be not a penalty for doing that. Now you have to be, if you're injured enough to miss the All-Star game, you also have to miss, I think it's the next 2 games for your team. To show that you were actually...
Is that the Crosby rule?
Yeah, it kind of is the Crosby rule, I think. I think, he kind of was was
Fucked
the
it up for
main
everyone.
offender for a while. Yeah, he wasn't the only one, but he was definitely the main offender for a while.
Well, I guess the other thing about the injuries thing is if you're worried about getting injured, you're not going to play to your all-star limit anyway, are you? I mean,
No,
yeah, exactly.
and they definitely don't. Like there's no one going 100 mile an hour like into the corner in this sort of game.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of cool, but then I guess I don't know about hockey but I guess it's a popular vote, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. You just kind of get personable players who will make it to the top, and not necessarily. And then again, it's like this is always the gripe I have about this. It's teams. It's not always the guy who's putting the puck in the net who's the star player, and so you just kind of get skewed towards people like Ovechkin or whatever who have a lot of possession. They shoot a lot, and sure, they're great players, but there's sometimes little bits. That I've been really looking at these the passes some of these guys do sometimes. It's the same with football as well. You see these wingers just put these perfect passes to their strikers, and it's like, yeah, sure, the striker got the goal, but it's pretty hard to do that kick and put it exactly where the striker needs it. So you kind of miss that whole aspect of the game, and I don't know. I don't think I've ever watched as you can probably tell, I've never watched a hockey all-star game, except for the speed skating.
Yeah,
I like the skills ones. I don't like the actual game itself, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's actually a really good story. It's very similar to what you're saying here. There was, it must have been 2 years ago now, John Scott was voted into the All-Star game. So because it's a fan vote, they can do this. So he's notoriously a goon. He was voted as the All-Star captain. He then got dropped to the minors and traded before the All-Star game.
What?
And they didn't know if he was going to be able to play because he was voted as I can't remember. It's like he was voted as playing for Phoenix or Arizona, and then he got traded to like Montreal, and he was playing in the AHL team. And he's like, "Well, whatever, man. I just want to go to the gig. I want to have some fun. I'll wear my AHL team jersey." And they didn't let him do it in the end. But man, like he ended up being the All-Star MVP because he was the only guy that gave a fuck.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
it was awesome. It was one of those things that you're like, the All-Star game is a joke, and this is the reason why.
Apparently, he was carried off the ice on his teammates' shoulders as well. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's a great story, but man, like it just rings of like, why are you doing this? You want people to take the sport seriously? This isn't the way to do it.
Oh, he retired not soon after it as well, and he played one more NHL game.
Yeah, he played out the season, but because he was in the minors, so he didn't play any more NHL games.
Oh, that's pretty funny. He won a car as well because he was the
yeah.
And then his wife gave birth not soon after. Interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, there's not many guys in the world that can say I am the NHL MVP the year that I retired.
I like the title of his book. It's A Guy Like Me Fighting to Make the Cut. Very good.
Yeah.
It's not a sports book unless it's making some very obvious literary reference to the sport or something. I gotta say, cricket is probably the worst for this, but yeah, I'm sure it's the same in all the sports.
Yeah, no, it is. There's always you got to know what they're talking about. Well, anyway, dude, I reckon that's a long enough time for us to chat about this nonsense.
We had a bit of a break, so it's all right if we have a bit of a longer one.
Yeah, that's it. We got another break coming up in a couple of weeks, so it'll be good. We can fit in as much as we can in those few weeks before everyone goes on leave.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for coming. And
yeah, thanks. It's good to be back in 2018.
Yeah, it should be a good year, and I've really enjoyed the hockey this season. It's the games I watched today were awesome, but yeah, just it's been a good season. I'm glad the league's close. That just makes it more fun because it
it does. Makes it less likely that guys are going to walk away from their team if you know there's that chance to take this big cup away.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah, it's kind of demoralizing when you're so far down, and you're even if you know if you're doing that bad, you're probably not going to end up with 12-0 weeks from then on out. So yeah, it gets a bit discouraging.
Yeah.
And sometimes some people may forget to set their teams. I know this is crazy, but when the season's getting a bit long in the tooth and you're below that 0.5 win percentage, yeah, it can be hard.
Yeah,
don't give up there, guys.
But no, keep it going. I'm loving the competition. We're getting a bit of banter in the chat as well, so keep that going as well.
Yeah, I think the group chat's good. It's definitely good.
Yeah, it is. I agree. All right, mate. Well, good to chat, and I'll talk to you again probably around about the same time next week.
Later, skater.
Catch ya.